Hello everyone. Today my topic is improving the performance of predictive niche models for invaders by way of selection of pseudo absence. Recently, there has been an increasing interest for using niche-based modeling in the following research areas. We focus on the application in invasive species management. Niche-based modeling um, also has other terms I listed here, which can be used interchangeably. Um, Generally, there are three major types of niche-based modeling, but we will focus on the correlative models today. And let me give you an example how correlative niche-based models works. So, considering Cassinas minas, a marine invasive species, as a modeling example, niche-based modeling is a tool to estimate the geographic distribution of targeted species by way of correlating observed occurrence data of species to its environmental covariates. So there are three major types of correlative niche-based modeling. So the first one is presence-only model, which just using location points of no species occurrence to calibrate the model. The second type of niche-based model is presence and true absence model. It is supposed to be better, but the problem is that the true absence data usually is very hard to compile and is very difficult to get through survey or from the museum. So there are third types of model which just generate pseudo absence data to compensate lacking of true absence. So pseudo absence means the unreal absence, and using presence and pseudo absence data to train the model. So obviously, how we just select or generate pseudo absence data has some impact on the niche-based model's performance. So here I just list a range of pseudo absence selection strategy in the literature. For example, generates randomly pseudo absence in the full geographic space, or just generates the pseudo absence in the limited geographic space. But in this study, we will focus on generate pseudo absence or select pseudo absence only in the environmental space. Of course, there are other methods, for example, just generate the pseudo absence data from both geographic and environmental space, or just using point pattern process. Just in the biological invasion context, we propose three pseudo absence selection strategies. The first one is NES, which has never been tested for pseudo absence selection in the literature. And the second one is BioClean, which is classic algorithm, and we will consider this algorithm as a benchmark algorithm. So we will set both algorithms to select pseudo absence data only from non-analog environment. So only in the red area here. The third strategy is random selection strategy. So it will select pseudo absence data across anywhere. So from both invaded range as well as native range. So how we define the non-analog environment? So non-analog environment we define here is environmental space only found in the invading range, not in the native range. So um, it's only defined in the red area as I show here. So together with the pseudo absence um, we generated, we only um, train the niche-based model using native occurrence distribution pattern, and the fitted model or the trained model will be projected in space into the invader range. So our primary target is to investigate the effects of the pseudo absence selection strategy on the um, forecasting biological invasion in the invader range for a range of marine invasive species which cover from um, the generalist to specialist, from sessile to mobile, and um, from rare to widespread in global scale. Because these studied species will represent different degree of niche shift between its native range and invaded range. So we will sequentially ask three questions. So the first one is how much is the degree of niche shift in terms of niche expansion for those studied species, and how does niche expansion inform prediction accuracy in the invader range? As the last, we will compare the three proposed pseudo-absence selection strategies in terms of model performance in the invader range. So let's take Casenas Minas as a modeling example again. So regardless of pseudo-absence selection strategy proposed, we only select pseudo-absence uh, from the from the water body um, with bathymetry less than 200 meters. So it's only from the photic zone because it is most biodiverse. So let's have a look about the first pseudo-absence selection strategy, MESS. So MESS is short for multivariate environmental similarity surface, described by Ellis. So MESS actually is a similarity index which represents how similar a point in space to a set of reference points, considering a range of predictor variables. Well, it's like a mouthful, but in application, we first set the native presence data point as our reference point. By using MESS, it can construct a similarity index surface or map like I showed here. Um, so anywhere with negative similarity index will be considered as non-analog environment, and we only will select or generate pseudo-absence from those non-analog environments, which is in red area I showed here. So in the same way, we will um, do the same for bioclaim, which is the second pseudo-absence selection strategy. So anywhere with zero suitability index will be considered as non-analog environment, and we only select or generate pseudo-absence data from those non-ergo environments, which also show as red area here. So the third pseudo-absence selection strategy is pure random. So it will select pseudo-absence anywhere with uh, asymmetry less than 200 meters. So we will do niche-based modeling for 17 marine species, as I showed before. So we will choose boosted regression tree as a method for niche-based modeling for 100 replicates. So for each species, we will run BRT model 100 replicates. For each replicate, we will train the boost regression tree with native occurrence together with pseudo-absence generated, and we will predict to the global ocean with asymmetry less than 200 meters, and we will only generate equal number of pseudo-absence data points as those one for the presence records found in the native range. So we will evaluate the model's prediction performance in the invader range, and we consider sensitivity as the only metric. And the 0.5 will be considered as a threshold for binary decision, because the outputs of the boost regression trees would be continuous variable from 0 to 1. So the box plots of sensitivity in invader range shows that mass and bioclean can improve the performance is better, and is better than random strategy for most of invasive species. So the most means 10 out of 17. So for those 10 species which I marked with downward green arrow, the performance between mass and bioclean are comparable. So this graph shows how I calculate the niche shift between invaded and native range, taking Cassinas minas as an example. So the red area shown here is a niche expansion. So there is a considerable niche expansion for this invasive species. So this graph shows the relationship between the sensitivity and the niche expansion in the invader range. First, it reveals that for all the marine invasive species considered, it represents varied degrees of niche expansion from 0 to 1. And for a second, there are 3 regression lines representing 3 pseudo-absence selection strategy. It shows that regardless of pseudo-absence selection strategy, the prediction performance in the invader range getting worse as niche expansion index increased. And if we further divide the niche expansion into 3 regions, from small, medium to large, and if we have a look at the model's performance in the small region, we can find that mass and bioclean generally can improve the model's prediction performance for the model with random selection strategy. But such an advantage just diminished as niche expansion index increased. So let's take Cassinas minas as modeling example here again. This panel shows that model's prediction for the for this species global distribution. For the model from the random pseudo absence selection strategy, we can see that the models almost missed the prediction for the occurrence data in its invader range. For example, in the um, North America and southeast of South Africa and south of um, Australia, almost missed because the risk they predicted is very low. And but for the for the model with mesh and bio-clean pseudo-absence selection strategy, we can see um, they almost capture the occurrence data um, in the invader range because the risk predicted is very high, right? So conclusions, we reviewed that um, marine invasive species represent different or various degree of niche changes, and we can't ignore those um, niche changes when we use niche-based modeling for prediction, because um, the more niche changes and the poorer of the performance of niche-based modeling predictions, regardless of pseudo-absence selection strategy. But select pseudo-absence only from non-analog environments by using MES or by using BioClean generally can improve niche-based modeling its performance in terms of sensitivity, especially when niche expansion is small. Thanks. That's all for my